Hey guys, it is January 8th, 2021, lesson 69 in the Course in Miracles student workbook. My grievances hide the lights of the world in me. So I wanted to start out with this poem, a Sioux poem, Native American. It's a creation story. It says that long ago, the Creator gathered all the creation and said, I want to hide something from the humans until they are ready for it. It is the realization that they created their own reality. The eagle said, give it to me. I will take it to the moon. The Creator said, no, one day they'll go there and find it. The salmon said, I will bury it at the bottom of the ocean. No, they will go there too. The buffalo, it's a bull, but close enough, I will bury it on the Great Plains. The Creator said, they will cut into the skin of the earth and find it even there. Great Mother Mole, who lives in the breast of the earth, Mother Earth, who has no physical eyes but spiritual eyes, said, put it inside them. And the Creator said, it is done. So why did I want to mention that? Because the lesson for today is basically understanding that you don't know what you've hidden inside yourself. Now, I am nobody who's an expert. I am basically what they call a white belt that has not quit, right? I learned this doing karate and even jiu-jitsu myself, where you become a black belt by not quitting. And I learned this within the dating community as well. And the reason why I say this is because there are a lot of false gurus and false teachers. Why is this important? Because what we're starting to understand is that as we look at these false gurus, we are tailoring to their own vibration. Okay, these individuals have not developed in their own stages, but they have the ability to reach different states. Okay, so they have the ability to reach some form of unity within their own understanding. Okay, but it doesn't mean that they are at the level that you want to follow them at. So when you are following people in darkness, you stand by people in darkness, right? And we have to understand that for us to reach full realization, we have to have real determination, right? We have no other purpose, no other function but for salvation, which means that we must convert all our wants of control, approval, security into the want to become free, which is salvation, as we learned earlier. And spiritual progress is the result of God's grace and not one's endeavors. So if anyone can say that they have taught you how to reach some form of enlightenment or self-realization, they're lying to you, okay? Because what they're trying to do is guilt you, right? And they're using your guilt as well to find teachers as such that could help you, but basically push them away because of your lack of emotional maturity, which happened to me many times with my mentor, Brian Bajan. So as I was working as an apprentice for the Attractive Man, I remember watching one of Brian's videos from The Fearless Man. I was like, man, I would love to be in Vegas and take one of his programs. Lo and behold, as I am becoming an apprentice and working on the workshop that we had in Vegas, he shows up. Did not know how that happened, right? So it's this idea that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Because when we're trying to guilt things, right, we're trying to purchase salvation. We're trying to manipulate God, right? We're trying to purchase forgiveness by suffering. And the only way that we get out of that suffering is by understanding that at the depth and the pits of despair, that's where the ego lets go. And crisis is the opportunity for spiritual discovery. So you will feed yourself that illness until you realize that it doesn't help you anymore. You will chase these dating coaches, and I did too, trust me. That's why I became pretty good, because I realized what doesn't work. I realized that most of these dating coaches do not live the life that you want to live. Yes, they can have the women that you want, but most oftentimes they're not very wealthy, right? There's like very few that actually made it beyond that, and that's because of their marketing and because they guilt you into feeling that you can be one of them, and eventually you realize that all they have been doing is making you feel like shit, right? So when we start to understand that at different levels there's different truths, right? Because the way that we teach in the dating community, right, there's things that you would teach for a beginner, intermediate, and advanced person that apply for each level, just like you would in spiritual endeavors. Okay, so forgiveness is something that is very important as you start to learn it, but as you start reaching what you would call a higher level of awareness and consciousness, there is no forgiving, right? It all is one and it all is perfect because it's all in harmony. Why is this important? Because once we start to understand truth, we start to see what truth is. And when we are attracted to these spiritual teachers that call us, right, they call it grace of the guru or benedict of the saints, these vibrations start to attract us and we will be changed forever. Kind of like what happened with me and my mentor Brian, right? Because as we start to see the mind is the body and the body is the mind, we start to see that as truth is being revealed within ourselves as the conduit, as the vehicle, right, the avatar, or you would call the Neo within this matrix, and the Neo outside of the matrix is using you to embody that. Now you start to see how you go strong. When you think of somebody and you do the little circle locking thing with your fingers, you go strong. But when you think about someone, it breaks that inner lock. Okay? So that's the same thing with understanding who has the ability to teach you, right? Because you start to see that as you're feeding yourself this knowledge, you either go strong or you go ill. And I learned this also with psychedelics, entheogens, MDMA, because as I mentioned before, I was trying to push my mind and my body to reach these higher states of joy, understand what joy feels like in my body. And although I had great understandings and realizations and revelations, my body was not taking it very well. Why? Because it's poison, right? It only helps if you do it in moderation, just like any kind of medicine, right? Just like marijuana, just like any kind of painkillers. It helps enough for your mind to allow itself to open up. It basically, just like Ken Wilber says, it gives your ego a break. It just says, yes, I finally got a break from myself so I can see who I really am. And if you're pushing yourself on and on, there is going to be a cost. Trust me. So when we're looking at these gurus, I'm going to read an excerpt from The Eye of the Eye from which nothing is hidden. Because again, we're trying to see what we have hidden within ourselves. So avoid false gurus. This cannot be overemphasized. The naive spiritual initiate is easily swayed by the trappings or reputations by spiritual figures and the charisma of those who have many followers. Without spiritual awareness of advanced states of consciousness, right? If you haven't really understood what advanced consciousness are, kind of like I did with what you would call psychedelics and whatever you want to call it, a spiritual seeker has no means of guidance and popularity clouds of judgments, right? So you are being disoriented, just like people are and men are disoriented within the dating community because it looks so lavish. At this time in human history, there's actually not a single guidepost that can be relied on other than the kinesiologic test of actual calibration with the level of the consciousness of the teacher. So you would calibrate what level there are, and your body, if you are in the higher vibrations, will say yes. So basically, if you're in your deficiency needs, then it will go false. But if you're in your growth needs and you're sure of yourself and encourage acceptance or peace, then you will understand what truth is as it's being manifested within your body. Okay? So the organization or the teaching as well. The naive are impressed with claims of supernatural powers, paranormal feats, and fanciful titles and dress, whatever. Earmarks of true teachers are humility, right? Earmarks of true teachers are humility, simplicity, lovingness, compassion, peacefulness. There's no financial charge for conveying truth, as there is no interest in money, personal power, or gain. Okay? So understand that I'm not a teacher. I'm just a student of life, and I'm just showing you what I've been shown. It is irrelevant to a true teacher whether others become followers or join a spiritual group or organization. All are totally free to leave spiritual group. There are the avoidance of the developments of a personality cult, right? So understand that as well. There is no desire by a true teacher to control others, and therefore a true teacher has no interest in coercion or persuasion. Neither does the teacher attempt to appropriate knowledge or force it on others inasmuch as it was freely received. Therefore, a true teacher is gracious in a manner and Spiritu Santo. The student of the true teacher is the totality of mankind. Okay? So, as we are learning what truth is within ourselves and what we hid away from ourselves, understand what are the things that continue to hide this, as they're hiding themselves, right? As we learned with the liars when we spoke about Nisha, right? Beyond Truth and Lies in the moral sense. You see individuals use the same kind of words, right, for their own benefits, making the unreal appear real.